Hey, I hope you guys are doing good today. We are going to be watching the infamous Jaws ride incident, and I thought this was kind of interesting. I actually didn't know anything bad happened at this ride, so this one definitely caught my eye. And this is from a new channel called Disasterthon True Horror. Um, but yeah, this kind of caught my eye, and I thought we would watch it together today. If you do get a chance, I'd appreciate if you can leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a bunch, and I will have Disasterthon's video linked in my description below, so be sure to go and like and subscribe to him. He has a very, very interesting channel. All right, let's see what happened with this ride. All right, before we get started, let me know if you've ever been on the Jaws ride before. I wish I would have gone. I have been to Universal, but I don't think I've ever been on this ride before. So let me know if you did go on this ride and how it was for you.
In the summer of 1990, Universal Studios Florida opened to the public for the first time. Among its most heavily promoted attractions was Jaws the Ride.
I want to say that I used to love the Jaws movies. I like all of them. I haven't watched one in a while, which maybe I should, but I used to really, really like these. I really like these movies. So I'm kind of sad that I don't think I've ever been on this ride.
An ambitious, effects driven experience based on the blockbuster film. Guests would board a boat for a guided tour to Amity Island, only to be attacked by a 25-foot animatronic shark. It was marketed as a headliner, a cutting edge thrill ride that would set Universal apart from Disney's more family friendly offerings.
I do feel like this whole idea of the Jaws ride though was really, really good, especially because I mean Jaws was so pop. I feel like Jaws is still so popular. I feel like everybody still knows about Jaws, and I feel like this was like peak Jaws time.
But the original Jaws ride was a failure from day one.
Oh
Mechanical
no.
issues, software malfunctions, and poor engineering plagued the attraction immediately.
I wonder like if this ride was like ahead of its time as far as engineering goes for rides like this, because it seems like a very like immersive, interactive type of ride. So I wonder if all the bumps, speed bumps that they kind of go through is because of that. I don't know.
This is much like the film, actually, come to think of it, but that's a different story. Boats stalled mid ride, sharks didn't appear, or worse, got stuck inches from guests,
Oh
and
no.
within 2 months of opening, the original ride was shut down entirely. Universal blamed technical issues, but in reality, it was something much deeper. During that chaotic first summer, one man fell into the water beside the shark. Guests
Oh my God, he fell in. Oh God. Oh no.
chaotic first summer, one man fell into the water beside the shark. Guests thought it was part of the show, but it wasn't. This is the story of Universal's most
Oh
infamous
man.
ride, the engineering disaster, the incident, and the multi-million-dollar fix that saved it, at least for a little while. This is the infamous story of the Jaws ride incident.
I wonder if the guy lived or
When
not.
Universal Studios Florida opened in June 1990, it was already in trouble. Construction delays had pushed the park's launch past schedule, and key attractions weren't ready or were barely functioning. Universal had made bold promises about delivering a next generation theme park experience, real movie magic, brought to life through actors, practical effects, and advanced ride systems.
I do love this idea though of Universal being like the movie side of things. I think that is really cool because I feel like you could do so much with it, and I'm sure they have had, I would say at this point, right, just a ton of licensing that they could just really make some really cool stuff with.
But unlike Disney, Universal didn't have decades of experience running large scale parks. That inexperience showed almost immediately. The Jaws
Uh-oh.
ride was supposed to be one of Universal's crown jewels. The concept was ambitious to say the least. Guests would board a pontoon boat for a scenic tour of Amity Island when a massive shark attack suddenly interrupts the calm. The experience would include pyrotechnics, water effects, boat mounted grenade launchers,
I feel like the shark looks really good though. I feel like he looks good. Jaws look really good. I don't know how old this picture is. but I feel like it looks good. I feel like it looks good.
Island.
I also feel like all the video footage that you see of Jaws swimming around and coming out, I think he looks really good for how old it is.
When a massive shark attack suddenly interrupts the calm. The experience would include pyrotechnics, water effects, boat mounted grenade launchers, and a 25-foot long animatronic shark that
That's a huge animatronic though, and that is a lot going on. That is a lot going on.
boat mounted grenade launchers, and a 25-foot long animatronic shark that could lunge out of the water on cue. The shark was programmed to attack the boat multiple times before being killed in a fiery finale. But the ride's complexity was its undoing. The animatronic shark was unreliable. The underwater
Uh-uh.
track system that moved it along would jam or misfire. Boats stalled in the middle of the lagoon, with guests stranded in full Florida sun. On
Oh
opening day
no.
alone, the ride broke down repeatedly. Malfunctions became a daily occurrence. Maintenance crews struggled to keep it operational, and operations staff often had to improvise live solutions in front of guests. By late July 1990, just weeks after opening, Universal made the decision to shut the ride down entirely. It was costing too much to maintain and had become a liability. Internally, Universal blamed the ride's original contractor, Ride.
This is what it looked like. This is a big ride. This is a big production. It's very impressive. It kind of sucks that they had such a terrible start though, because this whole idea is great.
Liability. Internally, Universal blamed the ride's original contractor, Ride and Show Engineering, and filed a lawsuit accusing the company of failing to deliver a functional attraction. But behind all the technical failure, something else happened that summer. Something that wouldn't come out until a federal lawsuit was filed.
Oh.
A guest had fallen into the water. The shark was nearby, and it wasn't a drill.
Oh
On
no.
a family vacation in July 1990, Anthony Salamone, a 39-year-old bank officer from Sicklerville, New Jersey, experienced something no guest should have endured on a theme park ride. Salamone was aboard the Jaws ride when a railing on the pontoon boat broke, causing him to fall into the water.
Oh my God. I feel see like I I don't mind rides. I don't know. I don't really like any crazy rides anymore. I think I'm just too old for it. But I do have like a fear of a lot of rides having something like this happen. Like this is like my worst fear when it comes to amusement parks and stuff like that is having some kind of uh safety failure of some sort and I fall out or something. Like this man is like living my nightmare.
Jaws ride when a railing on the pontoon boat broke, causing him to fall into the water. The ride's
Oh
lagoon was about
gosh.
8 feet deep, and as Salamone surfaced, the mechanical shark, the centerpiece of the attraction, approached him. His children reportedly screamed, "The
Oh
shark's gonna
no.
eat Daddy," as Universal employees scrambled to rescue him.
Oh my god, and yeah, and then your kids are watching this? Oh god, yeah. I mean, I don't know how your kids aren't traumatized by this.
Screamed, "The shark's gonna eat Daddy," as Universal employees scrambled to rescue him. According to Salamone, during the rescue, he slipped and fell into the water a second time before
Oh
being pulled back onto
no.
the boat. Though Salamone escaped serious injury, he suffered bruises and a scraped leg, and later caught a cold from being wet and exposed. Guests on the ride reportedly applauded, believing that the fall was part of the show. So as they were
Oh my god, that's gonna make it even worse if you're this guy though, because like you are probably banged up pretty good because I'd imagine it probably hurt a lot falling twice and then getting in the water and then being absolutely probably terrified. Like I know that you know it's fake, but that doesn't mean that it would stop the animatronic from doing its thing and you could have gotten seriously, seriously hurt. And then you get back in and you're like I guess maybe like trying to like trying to compose yourself and everyone thinks it was a show. Oh god, yeah, that would be uh oh my gosh.
having the time of
I'm glad that nothing terrible happened to him though. Like that is good. At least like he didn't like this isn't a story of somebody losing their life or something because then that would be really really sad. That'd be even worse because then like your kids witnessed it. Like that would be awful.
their applauded, believing that the fall was part of the show. So as they were having the time of their lives, Salomon and his children were definitely not.
Yeah.
Following the incident, Anthony Salomone filed a 1 million lawsuit against Universal, accusing the company of gross negligence and careless maintenance of the attraction. According to the complaints, Universal failed to ensure the safety barriers on the boat were properly secured and had not trained employees to adequately respond to emergency situations involving a guest in the water, especially in close proximity to a moving mechanical predator. The case was first filed in federal court in New Jersey, but Universal successfully petitioned to have it moved to the US District Court in Orlando, Florida, where the company was headquartered. This allowed Universal to litigate the case on home turf and keep tighter control over local press coverage, which was already starting to raise questions about broader safety issues at the newly opened park. Universal denied
I wonder how many people, I guess, maybe in the first couple years or so of Universal opening, like how many people actually got hurt or how much stuff went wrong? Because it sounds like they had a lot of issues.
any wrongdoing. Their in house attorney, Ron Sykes, publicly stated that the company disagreed with the plaintiff's account of the event. However, they failed to comment any further. They also declined to release details about other safety incidents on the Jaws ride, and it remained unclear whether Salomone's fall was isolated or part of a pattern. When asked if others had ever fallen from the ride, they declined to answer. No safety
That is not a good answer. If it's more than one, that they know of, that probably does not make you look good, and if you're not willing to answer that, that does not make that just oh, that yeah, that does not make you look good.
When asked if others had ever fallen from the ride, they declined to answer. No safety report was made publicly available. Universal's PR team downplayed the incident, focusing instead on a broader technical issue in ride maintenance. But behind the scenes, the company made a decisive move. The original ride was permanently shut down just weeks later. Every mechanical element, the boats, the shark, the underwater track system, was dismantled and discarded. The engineering firm behind the design, Ride and Show Engineering, was then sued by Universal for breach of contract, but the story wouldn't end there.
Oh my gosh. This sounds extremely, extremely expensive. This sounds so expensive, like such an expensive thing to do.
Was then sued by Universal for breach of contract, but the story wouldn't end there. More information would come out about the incident years later. Jeff Quay, one of the ride operators, was interviewed years later and would describe the incident. He actually disagreed with how it all went down. He claimed that the incident happened where the mechanical shark attacked the boat. Due to a missing pin in the bar, it came off, causing the man to fall in. He said where the man fell in had the most machinery in the lagoon, the worst possible place to fall in. These pits where the shark would be could go as deep as 40 feet.
Oh my god. What if he had gotten really hurt and like knocked out and then fell in the water? And it's and what if it was like in one of those spots where the water was like 40 feet deep? Yeah, he would have he he would have died. He could have died like legitimately. That is really, really dangerous. That's actually really scary to think about.
So imagine falling into a deep pit of dark water and coming face to face with a mechanic that I am showing on screen right now. Pretty
Yeah.
terrifying. After falling in, the emergency stop button was hit, and he said that the man was pulled instantly out of the water, which completely contrasts with the story told by Salomone. So it's up to you which story you'd believe. After the original Jaws,
I mean, I can understand there's might be some dramatization from the person. Like I get that. And I know that when you're in those situations and something like this happens, I get that you're not gonna be like 100% correct. And there's a lot of things going on. You're terrified, but I think that at least some of the gist of what happened is correct. And the fact that this shouldn't have happened anyways, like that safety rail should have never come loose and then he would have never fallen out. So I think either way, I think the common ground from the two stories is that, there's definitely a safety measure that failed and that's why that man fell out. So whether or not they want to argue, I guess the other parts of it of like him feeling like he didn't get saved fast enough or that the animatronic wasn't turned off or whatever. I mean, yeah, I guess that's like hearsay, but I would say that it does sound like both stories do collaborates the part where the safety railing does come loose and that's how he falls in. So I would say at least like if you could prove that much, that's still bad. Like that's still really, really bad.
Jaws ride was shut down in the summer of 1990, Universal had a choice to make: quietly remove the fail attraction and write it off as a learning experience, or rebuild it from scratch and try again. As history tells, they chose the latter. Behind the scenes, Universal terminated its relationship with ride and show engineering and brought in new contractors, including Ocean Engineering and Action Systems, companies with stronger backgrounds in large scale animatronics and hydraulic systems. The new version of the ride scrapped the original underwater guidance rail and replaced the entire control system with a more stable, sensor driven track and mechanical timing setup. Explosions were redesigned to be more consistent, and the shark's movements were simplified but made more reliable. Everything that had gone wrong in 1990 was re engineered to never happen again. It took nearly 3 years to complete.
Oh,
In
wow.
1993, the Jaws ride reopened to the public, this time working exactly as advertised. The relaunch was a huge success. The new version delivered.
I'm glad they didn't just scrap it though. Like I know this is like a very unfortunate incident that happened, but I'm glad that they didn't scrap it and they just tried again. And I guess it's a very expensive lesson learned, I guess, on Universal's part of maybe they should have hired people that were more well versed in doing stuff like this. I'm glad they didn't just scrap it though, because I feel like Jaws is just so iconic and this ride is really like a really cool genius idea. So the fact that they just kind of, I guess took their lashings and then dished out the money to make it better. I do like that about it because I feel like this is really cool.
Exactly as advertised. The relaunch was a huge success. The new version delivered what Universal had promised from the beginning: a cinematic, adrenaline fueled tour of Amity Island complete with explosions, close calls, and a satisfying mechanical shark death in a sea of flames. Guests loved it. The attraction
Good.
quickly became one of the park's most iconic experiences. For many park visitors, the Jaws ride defined their trip, and many have fond memories of it to this day. But while the ride worked on the surface, it was never cheap to operate. The animatronics required constant maintenance, and the water-based setting introduced daily complications, and also the special effects were analog and labour intensive. Long story short, the whole ride was expensive and over time, so Universal began to rethink its long-term value. By the early 2010s, Universal's strategic direction had changed. With the massive success of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the company saw an opportunity to transform its parks entirely, trading nostalgia for intellectual property with global reach. Older rides like the Jaws ride were now seen as liabilities and not assets. On January 2nd, 2012, Universal shut down the Jaws ride permanently.
I didn't know it shut down perm. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize it. I thought it just went through like a renovation phase because I just saw something pop up and it said like earthquake jaws ride or something like that. And I thought that was this. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But like I didn't know it actually closed. Oh no.
The area was immediately walled off, and demolition began shortly after. By 2014, the site had been completely transformed into Diagon Alley.
I get it, but at the same time, like that makes me really sad that it went away and then got tore down. I feel like that ride is like super iconic and I still feel like Jaws is still popular. I get Harry Potter is, wildly, wildly popular though too. And I get it, but it just kind of sucks.
The second phase of Universal's Harry Potter expansion. The shark was gone, the lagoon drained, and with it, one of the park's most troubled and most beloved attractions disappeared for good. Today, traces of the
Man.
original ride survive only in archived footage, fan videos, and the memories of those who were there, especially the ones who, for a brief moment, came a little too close to the shark. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, and if you appreciate my work, subscribe.
I really enjoyed this video. It's kind of bittersweet though. Like it's very interesting. It's very uh sad or I guess a little bit of a terrifying incident that they did encounter, but it's kind of sad that it's gone. I really didn't know it was gone. I had no idea that they tore it down for the part of the Harry Potter world. That kind of bums me out a little bit, but this video was really good. It was very, very interesting. I had no idea about this incident of somebody falling in and potentially getting seriously, seriously hurt. Like that is kind of terrifying, but great video. I really did enjoy this. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you guys being here. Be sure to like and subscribe to Disasterthon. I think his videos are good. I think these are really interesting. So give him lots of support. But that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you in the next one.